How's it going, everyone? I'm VenomousStare, the George Wallace of StarCraft 2. I'm for StarCraft 2 today, StarCraft 2 tomorrow, and StarCraft 2 forever. Today we have something exceptional, the EG Incontrol versus Illusion throwback in the form of the Venomous Classic series. Now, if you don't know what the Venomous Classics is, basically it's a game that was essential to watch, just a knockout 10 out of 10 god tier game that I decided needed to be featured. And these games occurred in the past, and probably 95% plus of people who happen by this video will not have seen these games or don't remember these games. And here's the kicker, or remember this game and need to be refreshed on it in their mind because of how great it is. So that's what I'm here to do. And we really couldn't have a game that was between two more interesting Americans. Illusion here in the top left, a guy known for his micro-based aggression. He did this crazy Reaper drop build in a game against Gonzi in the first LAN I ever went to. And Illusion's going to scout around. The reason that this is important is because if the Protoss player only has one pylon early on in their base, then you can deduce that they're proxying you. And this was really more of a heart of the swarm thing with the Oracle, because you walk into the main, and if they're proxying, usually it would be like the second pylon if it was a really fast aggressive proxy. So if you just looked around their base and they only had one pylon, power of deduction, you were getting proxied. So it's important that Illusion saw that, but it's not actually a proxy, it's an expand for Incontrol. And that's interesting because Illusion, like I said, he's known for his micro. He's kind of like Beyond was back in 2010, where he would do a lot of aggressive, kind of cheesy stuff and pull it off with great micro. But of course, Beyond has rounded out his play, but I thought it was a very good analogy to make considering this is a throwback game. But Illusion, the point of this build, as he takes to starport, and he still has not expanded, is to run in with the Widow Mine and an SCV with the few Marines, maybe get a bunker down if he gets lucky, but if Incontrol's units are just a little bit out of place, that Widow Mine's going to be burrowed in a location that will be very annoying. And this is the whole point of this attack, is it's so quick and so sharp that it hits before the Robo finishes. It hits before the second and third gateway finish. This is a very good build against a fast expanding Protoss, even if they go Robo. Now, if Incontrol was going Twilight first, he would just get brutalized. And here comes the push. So the Marines are stutter stepping up. The Widow Mine's concentrating on burrowing in a great location. Ooh, but Incontrol shoots it with the Mothership Core a couple times to soften it up and then focuses it nice a micro. But the Mothership Core is vulnerable. Incontrol runs it back and loses it. So the reason that he didn't Photon Overcharge the pylon is because in Heart of the Swarm, the Photon Overcharge actually stemmed from the Nexus. Ooh, close-up shot. And that means that, of course, it lasted longer on the Nexus, and it also means that it costed more energy, and Control didn't quite have the energy to throw up that ridiculously long Photon Overcharge, I must say, as someone who played a lot of Zerg and Heart of the Swarm. If you ever tried to do an all-in against Protoss, whew, that very long overcharge was fierce. But Incontrol is teching into Immortal, which is good, because an additional factory is coming down for Illusion, so it might be mech. Immortals, of course, counter mech, and the mine drop is going to come in for Illusion, and the mines are going to get good hits as Incontrol just right-clicked all of his probes to his natural, it looks like. And wow, Illusion's killed 11 workers, so Incontrol's at a bit of a disadvantage here. He's at 34 supply out of 51, and of course they're moving rapidly, so as soon as I open my mouth to say the sentence, both of those numbers changed. But Incontrol is at a supply disadvantage. Illusion does a great little micro trick there, and even though Incontrol has a decent amount of units, he said, well, I can just snipe your Mothership Core here really quick and load back up. You don't have the DPS to shoot the medevac down because of the Sentry. The little tickle cannon's not going to do too much, to use a Husky StarCraft reference there. And the Widow Mine gets one kill. Illusion cleans it up, or Incontrol cleans it up. So Incontrol's at a worker disadvantage. Illusion has expanded, and Illusion, it appears as though he's going to be going mech. Yes, 3 factories, so definitely mech. This was abnormal. In Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty, mech was infrequently seen because of, I'll preface that, mech was infrequently seen versus Protoss because of the Immortal. Now the Immortal is so good against mech because of the ability that it used to have, hardened shields, which meant that it would only take, I believe it was 10 damage no matter what hit it per shot when it had shields still up. It would only take 10 damage. So why is that good against mech, you might be asking? Well, think about siege tanks. They're expensive, they're armored, so the Immortal's going to do bonus damage to them, and most importantly, they shoot extremely slow for heavy damage. So if the siege tank does 35 damage plus 15 to armored plus upgrades, and the Immortal has an ability that says, well, until my shields die, all that damage is just 10 damage. It means that Protoss can engage super hard, and thousands of damage can be mitigated to a laughably low amount because of how good hardened shields is against the siege tank. Because the siege tank, of course, fires so slow, the fact that all of that damage gets mitigated is very important. But Incontrol is going to fly in with an observer here. Now he's going to learn very, very soon that it is mech. Now he just saw a medevac fly away, so it did look like bio. But now he sees the factory, so he knows it's mech, so he starts an Immortal. But Illusion is a micro-based harassment player who likes to stay in the driver's seat. He's going to go for a Hellion drop here. This is a great maneuver, because if you catch the Protoss off guard, if they don't have vision in every little corner of their base, then you can really kill a lot of workers. And of course, Protoss doesn't really want to make a lot of extra observers if they fall behind, but Incontrol is going to try to deflect the harass with some stalkers. Good move by Incontrol, doesn't do any damage there, those Hellions. Illusion is set up very well. He has a Widow Mine at the top of his ramp and a bunker. He does have a handful of Marines still, and he's just faking him out with the medevac. I love that. That's a brilliant move. Because, oh, here come the Hellions. Illusion's trying a little bit of a Hellion run by. He's going to get some kills here if we just look at Incontrol's supply. Remember, he's already behind. He can't afford to be constantly double producing workers when he wants to be cutting and making units off of 2 bases. And suddenly we see, boom, 2 more workers kick back up into production. And more importantly than having to make the workers, Incontrol is having to spend the money and doesn't get the income. That little dip in income is probably actually more important than having to spend the money. Because now not only does he have to make the workers, he doesn't get the income anyway, so the income dips down. And of course that's basic macro, but that's a little newbie tip I like to throw in. I like to include some newbie tips in my videos. I'm sure many of my... Ooh, nice pickup there on the medevac from Incontrol. So the 3rd CC is being made, Double Forge is coming down from Incontrol, but Illusion's in a great defensive position. I would venture to guess that many of my viewers, they're new players, which is fine. They haven't even seen Heart of the Swarm gameplay, so this is something completely new. And I will still be uploading Legacy of the Void stuff. This is just a cool little throwback game, a classic. We see a lot of depots here at the natural of Illusion. He's been macroing well. Notice he's up huge in supply against Incontrol, who has lost a ton of workers this game. But nice force fields at the base of the ramp. So Incontrol is going to pick off 2 crucial siege tanks, and then move back, pick and choose, pick off a couple Vikings. He has to be very careful, and he takes a couple shots there. See, those Immortals didn't get obliterated because of the hardened shield. Of course, if a Stalker were to have taken all those tank shots, it would have just been decimated. But Incontrol picks off a lot of units, walks forward a little bit too close, and the Stalker gets softened up. It didn't walk in range of all the tanks, just the front couple. And Illusion has a lot of Hellbats, so Immortals fare extremely well against Hellbats. I mean, they just laugh Hellbats out of the game. Incontrol's going for double upgrades. He's adding 3 more gates, so if a push occurs from the Terran player, Incontrol, I think, will have a chance to hold it despite the fact he's very far behind now. He's almost 50 supply behind, and Illusion's going to go for this very stellar push. He's going to continue to macro behind it. His 3rd base has completed. He's made it an orbital, but because he's gone mech, that means the E-base have been delayed in favor of an armory, and it means that turrets are not going to be a thing. Turrets are not going to be made. Safety turrets are not going to be made. The tech was Robo, not Stargate, so he's not going to have turrets from that. And the Dark Templar Shrine is on the way. Incontrol is known for this play. He's a good player when it comes to scrappy games, and he force fields the ramp. He says, "Oh my God, that's a lot of units. Can't deal with it. Can't be done." Force field the ramp, warp and DTs across the map as soon as the shrine finishes, and Incontrol is relying on a unit that everyone says he uses a lot, and they're going to go into the main there. No turrets are down here for Illusion, so Incontrol is going to use the DT to wreak havoc in Illusion's base. Some people point out that Incontrol likes to use this unit somewhat scornfully. I think it complements his playstyle very well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with him using the unit, because he's very good at scrappy games, at base trading games, and it kind of looks like that's what this is going to be. As you see a turret come down, remember scans are limited, engagement at the base of the ramp, and these Hellbats are just going to get stomped. There's a lot of Immortals. The tanks kind of got picked apart there. They were moving up the ramp. One of them was lost. A Dark Templar came in and sniped it, and suddenly there's virtually no mining going on for Illusion. If you look at his money, it's just stagnated. All the SCVs are being forced to come across the map. Now Illusion's orbitals are being lifted because of the DTs. This means his only form of detection is that turret. That is so important. So at this point, Incontrol, he's at a very disadvantageous location because Incontrol is sieged up right at his natural, so he's going to have to break this, and one of the only ways to do that is with the sandwich. He's going to have to lead with the Immortals, and he might do it right here. He's poking around at the top, but he gets back. He really needs to have units come in from the bottom, because if the tanks can fire all at one location, the Hellbats can go to all at one location. It's very good. Orbitals are floating. There's no scan available. Illusion does not know where Incontrol is. He's just happily sieging the natural. Probes being evacuated, they just get eviscerated as almost 60 workers have been killed by Illusion. That's a lot of dead workers for the Protoss player, and Incontrol might want to go pretty soon, as once he loses the natural, the game might be over. He has to kill his army. Here we go, the engagement, the Immortals leading the fray. Beautiful play, and that hardened shield absorbing so much, and here we go. South side flank is Incontrol's poised to take this game, and he does. Incontrol takes it. The boisterous celebration, I love to see that. Subscribe for more.